Good afternoon, ladies and gents, and you join me for our second tour of East London Cemetery. One famous person this time, that's Bradley Stone, an East End legend. He's the first one in our tour, and some World War II, World War One, and some original footage and stuff thrown in as well. We'll be visiting the HMS Albion disaster, and we'll be seeing a film of that, and it was the first disaster ever caught on film. And Trident Papa India aircraft disaster, one of the people that were killed in that is buried here as well, and we'll be seeing some footage of that kind of thing afterwards. Hope you will enjoy. Take care. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoy what you're going to see. If you do, please give it a like and a share. Thank you. These are the vaults at the front row of the cemetery, and we are at the grave of Thomas Cribb, who founded Cribb's Undertakers. In loving remembrance of Thomas Cribb, passed away on the 30th of July 1923, aged 66 years. Tom Cribb, he's buried here in the vaults there. Another interesting one I will show you quickly just while I'm here. This one is very well known in the cemetery, this lady, Signora Vercillo. This one either interests people or really creeps them out. Vercillo. Look, and that's a life-size carving of Signora Vercillo, and it's meant to be really lifelike. Apparently it actually looked like her. So yeah, Angelina Celestina Vercillo. Won't show you all the private details because it's obviously fairly recent-ish. Right, so we are back at Tom Cribb. It's the starting of our tour. We're not in any particular date order today. I normally do date order, but we're not in any date order today. So we're starting at Tom Cribb, the founder of Cribb's Undertakers. So join me at the next one, ladies and gents. And as I said I would cover the Trident Papa India air disaster. That was Fred Farey, or Farey, F-A-R-E-Y, who died 18th of June 1972, aged 30. His mum, Anne, and his dad, Fred, buried him with him as well. These are at the front, these ones. There's a football there, so he obviously liked football. So yeah, this is the Trident Papa India disaster, one of the gentlemen from that. So there we are.
Vital components of the Trident Papa India, which crashed, killing all 118 passengers and crew in Britain's worst air disaster, being shown to members of the inquiry set up to try and establish the cause. Almost incredibly, the Royal Aircraft Establishment at Farnborough has reassembled the wreckage piece by piece. The droop flap controls in the up position as they were at the time of the crash. Judge Geoffrey Lane, a member of the inquiry. The droop control dial confirms the up position. Sections of the fatal leading edge. Judge Lane, Sir Morian Morgan and Mr. J.W. Jessup testing the droop control. So far, no evidence of mechanical defect has been found, although arising out of the crash, certain modifications have been suggested. So there is speculation about pilot error, which may never be confirmed because the only real witness is dead. All that is known is that the droop handle was up, when at that height it should have been down. But why or how may never be known.
And here we are at the grave of Bradley Stone, the boxer who was taken far too young. Bradley Stone, 1970 to 1994. Won't read out the verse and everything, and just a quick one of that of him. I wanted to show him in one of my videos. I know I've covered him in one of the statues before. So that's Bradley Stone, ladies and gents. Hello ladies and gents, we're at another of our war dead memorials here. In memoriam, killed by enemy action in the execution of their duty at post 10. Sorry, at post. Yeah, at post 10, Custom House School, Freemasons Road, on April the 19th, 1941. These were A.R.P Wardens, these men. Unfortunately, and it's really sad, you can see that a lot of the names are pretty much worn away. We've got C.H. something, can't even make that poor man out. William Alexander, and I can't make his surname out. Arthur Edwards Jr. Frank, I don't know if that's Watson or Wasson. Thomas Harry Monk, David Pollard and William Roscoe. Aged 53, aged 40, aged 37, aged, that one's worn away, aged 37, aged 31, aged 44, aged 56. So yeah, these are war dead. These gentlemen were A.R.P Wardens, and their A.R.P post was at Custom House. I think it may have been Frederick Road School, could have been, or Freemasons Road. Custom House School, that may have been the Frederick Road School, or it may have been Custom House School, specifically called Custom House School, but I'm not quite sure. But yeah, they was killed at their A.R.P post in Custom House. Right, okay everyone, join me all at the next one. Afternoon ladies and gents, it's our second cemetery tour. This is of your charity. Pray for the repose of the soul of Lincoln Stanhope Wainwright, priest, who laboured for God at St Peter's, London docks, 1879 to 1929. He fell asleep in Christ the 6th of February 1929. Fortified with the sacrament of the church, R.I.P. And we've got also, of your goodness, pray for the soul of Harold Arthur Pollock, priest, who by the mercy of God was granted the great privilege of serving St Peter's London docks for 47 years at rest, the 17th of May 1939. And we go around the other side, see if there's anyone else mentioned. This is the Roman Catholic section of the cemetery, of course. No, there isn't anyone else mentioned. So leave it at that one for now. Oh, no, we won't. We've got a war hero. So we'll cover him. Squirrel, let me jump. G6372 Private H.G. Wren, Middlesex Regiment, 28th of May 1915. True till death. The verse at the bottom of the stones, the family were often allowed to choose. So, it's one of our war heroes there. And I'll stop this one and carry you on anything else interesting, or anyone else interesting rather, I should say, beg your pardon. Here we are again ladies and gents, we're at one of the war memorials. This one's fairly sizable. If you go to the straight down, there's the church, the burial chapel there, cremation chapel there. You see all these, I'll wait for this car to go by. You see all these new ugly box things here, which I do not like. This is just behind them. Their name liveth forevermore. The cross of sacrifice is one in design and intention with those which have been set up in France and Belgium and other places throughout the world, where our dead of the great wars are laid to rest. And this is 1939. These members of Her Majesty's forces died in the service of their country and are buried elsewhere in this cemetery, 1939-45. Tranquility officer. So worn away. Gunner WBT. Yeah, in each of these is names. You may be able to make them out a little bit better on the screen. You can make them out better on the screen than you can with my eyes. So just pause and read, although I am in the process of getting new glasses, so that could be why. Stoker first class, these are men of the Navy, these ones. Valuable seamen. So many men. Each one of these a life given up for our country and for the freedom of the, well, basically free world at the time, really, wasn't it? But no one wins in wars, I'm afraid. For every war memorial here, there'll be one in another country, even if they did start it or not. A lot of the ordinary privates, such as ours, had no choice whether they went into the war, particularly in the First World War, because you would be shot for cowardice if you didn't. And your family would be shamed. Judge not lest ye be judged. So worn away. Some of them you can't even see well with the camera, but see, these are concrete type setups and limestone and things like that, and the pollution and acid rain in London, well. Funny enough, not funny enough, but one of the men that's mentioned on here, my nan knew him. She went to school with one of the men, and you know, I just cannot remember which one it was. And there's dozens of names here. Oh, Gaskin, I had that surname in my family, but years and years ago, came from Henley in Suffolk. Just pause and read as I say. If you're able to make them out, of course. Oh. Oh. Someone's smoking what my nan used to call naughty cigarettes, and it's not me. Eh, lad, I can smell it a mile off. Good luck to them not hurting anyone, are they, I suppose? These ones, which are a bit more protected from the weather, as you can see, are clearer. And my nan, unfortunately, is no longer here for me to say. Which one was it, Nan, that you showed me? I would have been about 13 or younger. He went away, came back. This is First World War, these ones. The other side is the Second World War. The man that my nan mentioned to me, he went away and came back injured and lasted for some time, but then died of his injuries here in England. And that was similar to my nan's cousin. My nan had a cousin called John Edwin Price, who was named after her grandfather. And he went away and he was fighting in Burma and got caught by the Japanese, was in a Japanese prisoner of war camp. Now he's a healthy, happy young man. We shall say he came back in such a terrible, terrible state that an English winter saw him off, and he died at the age of 28, and he's buried in West Ham Cemetery. I don't know why he's buried there, because most of our family are buried here. Here's awarded 1, 2, 3, 7, 4, 8, Corporal H. Burrell, Essex Regiment, 28th of January 1917, aged 22 years. My nan used to say every time she came here, still bleeding kiddies at that age. And she wasn't wrong. That they were men, weren't they? They had to become men pretty quickly. Bless them, or God bless them, and I don't throw that one around very often. So yeah, the Cross of Sacrifice. We saw one of these in Rye, Cross of Sacrifice, in the churchyard there. They're all over the place, all over the world, as that just said. So join me at the next one, ladies and gents. Afternoon again, ladies and gents, and you join me at the, HMS Albion disaster mass grave, in memory of those who perished at the launch of HMS Albion on June the 21st, 1898. We'll cover each of the namestones, and then I'll tell you what we're going to see. If you wash these stones, these polished ones, very too much, the names don't show up. They show up better when they're dirty, when there's dirt in there, because they probably would have been gold gilded or done in black in their original day, but long worn away. There they are clad because they are at rest, and so bringeth the something haven where they would be. Who is wise will ponder these things. See verses that are there, they've worn away, and there's something here about the first bit is something go down in ships and occupy their business on the sea. That's all worn away. Unto the Lord in their trouble. And what we're going to see next, this here, the Albion, was the first ever disaster caught on camera. So that's what you're going to see next. This is the next part of the video you'll see. It's not obviously very nice, but it's been colorized and cleaned up, and it was the first ever disaster, as I say, to be caught on film rather than just a picture, actually on moving film. So we're going to see that next. Okay everyone, join me for that part. And now we're at the end of this tour today. I thought I'd end us at something a little bit more cheerful. Not this, but here it was all covered up with a fence until fairly recently. And under this big hill are dozens upon dozens of common graves, you know, the old public graves. And I think it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 of my ancestors are in here. I've got Joseph and Henrietta Ship, who was my great-grandmother's grandparents. He was a greengrocer. Some Tuck ancestors, some Lee ancestors. My great-grandmother's father, he's buried in this section. Their mother's buried over in that section. And this was all covered over and then just derelict for years. Now it's been landscaped and looks nice, so it is nice. I mean, obviously I never knew my ancestors, but it wasn't nice to know that they was behind a fence under a load of shit, basically, because it was pretty derelict. Yeah, we are going to end at something a bit nicer, and this too is fairly, for the last few years or so, I would say, to the cemetery. For anyone that does come, I always come and sit here, end my visit to the cemetery here. It's very calming and peaceful. Tranquility Garden, this is called. Over there is new burials, and over here is cremations, but they are so new I won't show you any of that because it's really new, so that's going to be very raw for people, of course. Right. You can see the George flag flying there, or fluttering in the gentle breeze. Weather's turned out alright now. Just there is the First World War Memorial Cross, and just here, this stone thing there is the Second World War Memorial, and my great-grandmother's cousin is in that one. He was killed in an air raid at work in Hackney. He's mentioned in that one, so yeah. Hope everyone's enjoyed today's tour. No particular date order, which is unlike me because I usually do things in a date order, but I thought we'd just do it random today. We started off with Cribbsy, Thomas Cribb, who founded Cribbs, and yeah, went from there. Trident Papa India, some war memorials, the HMS Albion disaster. I think that was it. I think there's anything. Oh yeah, and some Roman Catholic priests in the Catholic section. But yeah, that's it. And I'm gonna wash up my mouth because you know I want to hear it chopped, and let you enjoy the tranquility for a moment. Take care everyone, hope you enjoyed the tour. Join me on the next one, which will be soon.